Something I've really been looking forward to doing is something I would definitely love to address, and that is the film's secondary villain, the Boss Wolf. I love this guy. He's a character I love because I'll admit I've never seen a villain that is such a great blend of being so gritty and badass, but as well as being so adorable and fun. The Boss Wolf is the head of Lord Shen's awesome army of wolves, thus making him the pack leader. Seeing how these wolves often consist of their own relatives, and real wolf packs often work like that. He's played by comedy actor Danny McBride, who is starting to grow more and more in popularity these days, and whose more famous roles include starring in the films Pineapple Express and Your Highness, which actually came out the same year as this film did. The backstory of the wolves states that they were the royal guards of the Goblin City Palace when Shen's parents still ruled over the city. Shen was the only member of his royal family who seemed to give the wolves the time of day. He often fed them, played with them, and treated them like his own family. And with that, Shen and Boss Wolf soon were the closest of friends, and he swore allegiance to Shen and Shen alone, going so far as to willingly help him massacre the whole village of pandas, even though the event caused Boss Wolf to lose sight in his left eye after he was hit over the face with a rake by a panda after an attempt to kill the panda's young baby, who then later grew up to be the film's main hero, Po. But of course, Shen's parents found out about the massacre, and with that the wolves are banished from the city along with Shen himself. Boss Wolf himself is a great supporting villain and is equally as cool as Shen, in the sense that despite the fact that Boss Wolf is clearly savage, cruel, sneaky and utterly evil, he actually has his nicer points. The fact that he grew up with Shen and they were actually friends answers the question of why he puts up with Shen's occasional arrogance. Not to mention, Boss Wolf is his second in command, and Shen clearly trusts him to do anything he asks, and he actually would, as proven by the fact that he almost killed a little baby panda. But while doing all these things, he still has his funnier moments, and his personality almost seems like a very domesticated dog-like, or even like a puppy. He has many great lines, and quite a few of them leave me with an overwhelming urge to tickle him under the chin and give him a doggy treat, like when he discovers the Furious Five in the Goblin City prison.
You're mine! I'll tell you what's gonna be yours. My fist in your plush, cuddly, super soft face! Uh-oh.
And just so many more moments are just absolutely hilarious with him. The best scene I think that shows this is when Shen orders him to get the wolves ready.
Call in the wolves, all of them! I want them ready to move! The year of the peacock begins now! Right now? Because it's the middle of the year, so you'd only get like a half of the year of the peacock. And this is the year, of course, of the peacock. Happy New Year, sir!
And to me, it's one of the funniest parts of the entire film, because while you're laughing at the wolf for basically shooting himself in the foot, you're also laughing at the fact that it's how surprised you are to see how absolutely adorable he is. This is the one thing that Boss Wolf has most in common with Lord Shen. They both surprise the audience when it comes to their personalities. The Boss Wolf is similar because looking at him we expect nothing but ferocity. Because with Shen you do get the idea that he's got more class and therefore can be a lot more intelligent, deceiving and more complex. With Boss Wolf you think that what you see is what you get. Just by looking at him you can see that he's just a low-life thug, a completely savage bastard.
Guess nobody told you. If you mess with the wolf, you get the fangs. I've hit you twice. What are you gonna do now?
Po!
Chew on that, Tubby!
Just think yourself lucky Po he didn't hit you with the other end of the hammer, then you would have had something to scream about. But then he surprises you by being funny, adorable, and even showing that there's some lines that even he won't cross. Which leads me to talk about his most prominent moment from the film, his own death scene. It comes in the climax of the film where the Furious Five manage to stop the boats from reaching the open harbour. Shen is absolutely furious and keeps ordering for his army to fire the cannons as they're getting closer. The Boss Wolf hesitates, warning him that if he fires the cannon, some of his own pack will get killed in the process. Shen clearly isn't listening, so he stands up to Shen and refuses to fire the cannon.
Why aren't we firing? They're taking out our gunners, sir! They're getting close! Fire at them! But sir, we'll kill our own! I said fire at the fire! No.
And for that moment, you're actually quite proud of him. You're thinking, good for you, love, you tell him. I mean, I love Shen, but you're genuinely happy to see a more decent side to him. But then, in that same second, this has to be, for me, one of the most shocking moments in the entire film. You feel genuinely sorry for the poor wolf. That scene actually made me jump because just when you think you've got Shen's character figured out, he shows you just how cruel and unpredictable he is. This makes the poor wolf scene even more shocking because Shen just did it so quickly, and he shows absolutely no remorse about it later either. It makes you admire how complex and brave the boss wolf is, but also highlights how insane Shen clearly is. Especially since he wouldn't dare kill the soothsayer out of kindness alone, and yet he wouldn't think twice about striking down his own friend who's been nothing but loyal to him up until that point. I admire that the boss wolf has a softer spot for his pack, because I mentioned earlier that many pack members will actually be his own family, and at times I really actually got the feeling like they were, like in this little amusing moment here.
Huh? What? Where you go? Spread out! Search everywhere! What about over there? Is there a part of everywhere? I guess. Let's search there!
To me, that sort of set them up as like a family type atmosphere. That's what I get when I see it. I can't fully explain why, but I just get it straight away. But it was refreshing, nevertheless, to see a character pretty much die for them. Albeit not really willingly. Oh, and I've always said it quite a few times that boss wolf died when he got knifed in the neck. And for those of you who still don't believe me when I say that, I'll elaborate. His armour ends rather quite low on his chest, and the knife hits him right under the chin, i.e. right in the neck. Ugh. And when you think about it, that's really, really gruesome for a kid's film. Because if you look at the deaths from the first film, they were abstract at best, but nothing horrible, or nothing really that sad. But this death, boss wolf's death, I mean, getting knifed in the neck, that's something I won't dare see in adult films, never mind putting it in a kid's film. So what more can I say about this character? He's a lot of fun, really surprising, but quite underrated because Shen's the obvious show stealer out of the two of them. But I still absolutely love this guy. And this is a pretty good performance from Danny McBride. And now, here are a couple extra little facts about the Wolf Army I bet you didn't even know about. First fact, would you believe me when I say that the wolves were originally supposed to follow Tai Lung, the villain from the first film? A few people will already know about them from the first film's video game adaptation. The funny thing is that their origins were going to state that they were Tai Lung's servants, but after he was sent to prison, they went into hiding and only came back when they knew he was free. A little bit similar to Shen's wolves, in that they were Shen's servants, but when Shen got banished, they went along with him. This was actually the plot to the video game though. When Tai Lung escaped, many baddies from the valley came out in order to get out on his good side. However, these wolves do differ greatly from Shen's wolves. While Shen's army, while very vicious, were a little bit on the dim side. These wolves are very skilled ninja-like fighters who even might have used elements of sorcery. Tai Lung's wolves are also known as the Lang Shadow Army. Lang translating into English as reckless and wasteful. Did you know that the boss wolf originally wasn't even going to be a wolf? In the first draft, they made him into a crow. But they changed the idea when they decided that having two birds as villains in the same film, it would just be a bit too similar to Shen being a peacock and all that. Plus, unless you're Alfred Hitchcock, you really can't see crows being so threatening to take over an entire town. Do you remember the scene from the first film, when Poe accidentally smashes the urn of the Whispering Warriors, containing the souls and cremated remains of the entire Tenshu army? The scene was already really funny, but if you look at the urn very closely, you can actually see the concept art of Lord Shen's wolf army, and the wolves themselves are coloured in red. Would you believe it? All these little details I just love because it just shows how much thought goes into these films, that they're not just selling out another family blockbuster just for the commercial sake of it. It really does seem like they're creating their own universe. For example, you see this fan in the Hall of Warriors here? It's not very noticeable, but after searching I found out that even this has its own backstory. It's said to belong to an unknown female named Lady Wing Song, from the city of Blissful Fragrance, who often hid her beauty and modesty behind this metal wolf fan, as she would sing songs about unrequited love by day and would be a heroic ass-kicker by night. The metal itself was said to be mysterious and could cut through stone. But oddly enough, that isn't the last we see of the fan, as in the second film, it's very noticeable in this scene.
Oh! Hello! I couldn't help it. Oh. Yeah, okay. Anyway, where was I?
Looking at this and the urn, it just seems like they just kept dropping hints from in the first film to show us what we were in store for in the second film. It makes me think that, what if there's something in the backgrounds of the second film that might already be telling us something about what we're going to see in the third film, and we just can't notice it yet? It might just be staring us right in the face. However, this factor is no more apparent than in my final fact. In the second film, Poe becomes very involved with the Boss Wolf after the symbol on his shoulder pad triggers memories of Poe's real family. But oddly enough, this isn't the first time this has happened to him. In the opening dream sequence of the first film, Poe fantasizes about being a great kung fu warrior. In this dream, he fights off many baddies, but the biggest in the dream are Lord Shen's wolves. They wear the exact same clothes and armor. The scene is coloured in all red, their eyes glow red just like in the flashbacks, they're waving flags to show definitely an army of someone, and could possibly represent Shen himself, this and so many more. It's occurred to me because of this and of Poe's behaviour in the second film. It seems clear that the wolves always had a big impression on him, yet Shen hardly ever did. He seems to bear a large grudge with the wolves throughout the entire film, as he knows that they have a connection with what happened to him as a child, and for the most part completely ignores Shen, as the name is never familiar to him, and even when Poe first meets Shen in the palace, the idea of coming face to face with him doesn't even bother him at all or faze him. He doesn't seem to take the situation seriously and is often more focused on getting the wolf, and is quick to brush Shen aside as not being that big of a threat. Which is pretty understandable, because if the first villain you meet is a massive, very physically able and rather scary looking wolf with razor sharp teeth and an army by his side and hammered you right in the face earlier on, and the other villain is an aging, colourless and rather paranoid and twitchy peacock, which one of these two would you honestly label as being a bigger threat on a first impression? It isn't until later, when Shen takes it upon himself to repeatedly brag and rub it in that he was responsible for what happened to Poe's parents, that he starts to realise what really happened, as his memories keep growing more and more and more, until it all comes together in what is the absolute saddest scene in the entire film, and is without doubt could possibly be one of the saddest scenes in any animated film. So this dream sequence could easily confirm any theory that Poe had any repressed fears or memories of the wolf army that stayed with him for most of his life, and so it isn't until this film that we finally see him find his inner peace. Oh, and one thing I must mention before I move on is this. Who the hell is this guy? I'm of course talking about the Kung Fu Panda 2 video game, in which Boss Wolf makes an appearance. Or does he? Here are my list of reasons why this is absolutely driving me up the wall, and if anyone can give me a legitimate answer to this, then that would be great. First of all, the storyline takes place after Shen's death, so therefore long after the Boss Wolf's death, so why the heck is he there? Usually I would say, okay, it's a new character, but the voice actor for the game deliberately sounds like Danny McBride, and he says that he knows Poe.
You? You! I thought you had enough. I have. Enough of silly pandas!
Second, he's not even using the same weapons as last time. In the film he always carries that hammer, but at what point did you see him using a sword and shield? At least all the characters are consistent with what skills and weapons they use. I mean, you don't see Shen using a hammer at any point. Also, the voice and clothes are similar, but otherwise the model looks nothing like him. He almost looks like a pig in this. Oh, and there's that tiny, just that very, very tiny but very, very noticeable flaw, the fact that his left eye opens. So what, did the stab cure his eyesight? In the film, his left eye was badly damaged and he couldn't open it. And one more thing, this takes place after Shen is dead, so why would he want to continue the work? I can understand the rest of them wanting to, but after getting stabbed by Shen, I wouldn't want anything more to do with him. Even before he died, he made himself pretty clear that he was getting pretty sick. That's what got him killed in the first place. Oh yeah, and how the hell do you survive getting a knife into your neck and falling off a boat into a canal while showing no sign of injury at all? So as you can see, there's absolutely no reason why this makes any sense, and it's kind of driving me nuts. And believe me, I'm not the only one who's annoyed by this. I mean, this goes beyond a continuity cock-up. But I suppose I better move swiftly on before I explode.